Welcome to a podcast episode of When Iron Sharpens Iron with the 21st Century Dream Team, including Dr. Darren Lucas, Christian, husband, father, former pastor, and present sharing economy entrepreneur. Alongside of him is Antoine Hyman, pro basketball player, New England Hall of Famer, pastor, chief executive officer of Student Athletes Rising, Christian, husband, father, motivational speaker, and life coach. Also with us is Clinton Adams Jr., father, minister, and CEO of Clinton Car Services LLC. And to his right is Frederick Gomes, husband, father, artist, current manager of United Way Launch Program. Worked several years with the Department of Youth Services and also worked for the Bridging the Gap program as an outreach coordinator and instructor. Mr. Gomes works diligently with at-risk youth in the Boston area. And last but not least, me, Nickolas DeJarnette, Christian, husband, father, CEO of multiple companies under the professionally affordable brand, ex-felon, and Boston University graduate. Yes, you heard the dynamics of our dream team, so let's dive right in to an episode of When Iron Sharpens Iron. Some crazy times we're dealing with right now.
These are serious times that we're dealing with right now. I think a lot of people have an uncertainty, just like the times that's going on in them. People don't have the confidence, the ground that they're used to standing on.
Yeah.
It's shaken.
Yeah.
What was sturdy before, and its falsehood is now showing how weak it was and how much it lacked. And people who have bought into those understandings or those systems are now, I think, in very nervous, uncertain, scary spaces, so to speak, for lack of better words. And even those who, and from my limited perspective, I'll say even those who are doing well for themselves, either by, as you would say, Nick, and as we all agree, by being an owner of their business. But even those who are still able to work and who are, have a good check still coming in, let's say, they're being tested in ways as well. No one. It's like if it rains over America, it's raining over America. No one is exempt from the downpour right now.
Yeah. Amen.
And I think just we many people are uncomfortable, nervous, scared. You know, me and Ant was talking earlier about just how strong and powerful, because it's God, how strong and powerful consciousness is. You know, and as soon as people sneeze or cough, like Charlemagne says, it's like a gunshot now. You know what I'm saying?
People look at you like,
yeah, right, exactly. So I'm just really concerned or worried just about the state of mind of beings. Are people gonna be healthy enough for themselves to be healthy enough for those who are around them who are gonna need support because they don't have enough gumption to build up for themselves, or enough God manifested within their understanding to be healthy enough for themselves. They're gonna need that support. They're gonna need that. They're gonna need that support. I'll leave it there. And even those who are supporting are gonna need support.
amen, amen, yeah.
So where we at as far as America? Where we at as far as individuals? Whereas we at as far as we are the whole? We are one. So that's
And one of the things that you there's a reason why one of your main topics, and one of the things that you are very familiar with is individuals' psychological health. And so can you just expound a little bit in regards to the psychological well-being of individuals, their emotional states, and things like that? Can you expound on how you see those things being affected right now or being shaken up?
Amen. Amen.
Well, before you go into that,
Yes,
Fred,
please.
let me just tuck this in. Let me rewind this one. We're basically right now, we're talking about the mindset, that we are dealing with in terms of this corona situation and the new normal that is creating. And so when you talk about, how to navigate the mental health or what have you, that's what Vanessa's talking about. This coronavirus and the mental effects it's having on our families, our lives, and the whole little deal.
Absolutely. Thank you
So,
for that introduction.
Um, so I think individuals, first before I even start, let me say I don't have no a certificate. I'm not a clinician. I don't have my doctorate in anything. I'm just well experienced. I have hours of experience that a person would call me an expert in a certain space, but it's through my hours of experience in certain spaces that I'll be given that. Not that there's a certificate or anything attached to that.
Okay.
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 which your hours, it means more than anything.
Thank
The
you, sir.
the
Much,
hour
yes,
the
sir.
hours
Facts.
mean more than
Much,
True.
much
anything.
appreciated.
Period.
True.
Point
Yes,
blank.
sir. Yes,
True.
sir. So to comment on what you're asking on individuals in this, where we're at, what am I seeing with individuals? Uh, uh, I see a serious within my communities. I visit the suburbs only once in a while.
Hmm.
My son tends to, because he goes to private school. He hangs out with that type of crowd. That's not my crowd. That's not where I'm from.
Hmm.
So I only dibble and dabble because of his association so much. Let it be because of a function that's taking place, because parents are getting together, because that's what they do out there in the suburbs. At times, families get together just to talk about things. You know,
Yeah.
let it be a dinner or whatever. Invite. That's where I get exposed to suburban type life. But I'm more urban, and what I'm finding out in my urban communities are individuals have firstly a serious rightfully placed distrust
Mm.
for many a years. The inner city and people have, or the system has preyed or pried on the inner city. We were discussing earlier that though black people, a small percentage of all the people here in America, excuse me, though black people um, don't earn as much as other, well, I'll say as much as white people earn here in America,
Mm.
yet we're the largest consumers.
Mm.
You know,
Mm.
we're the largest consumers. And throughout all of time, it seems, since we've been brought here, we've been taken advantage of because we haven't been given certain information to be able to be aware of things. That lack of information, people have preyed on that lack of knowledge, that
Mm.
they have preyed on that ignorance.
Mm.
Mind you, withholding that information so that people remain ignorant.
Yeah.
They've offered spaces where people come and knock on the door or call their home offering assistance, where the assistance isn't assistance. It's it's let me get some money, capital from
Yeah.
you. In truth, if you can't once people sign certain papers, who think that they're going to get a good vinyl siding and windows done because this is going on in your community right now. We're taking
Yeah.
a bit. No, if you can't pay this now to the old woman, we're going to take your home and we're going to own your home. Mind you, they just put up siding and windows.
Yeah.
Now they're going to own your property.
Yeah.
you know so just the distrust that we have in our urban communities, that is rampant. So that distrust, mind you, is a domino effect to many other things,
Yep.
right? And then you have the mental health. Me and Ant was also talking a bit earlier that I feel from my limited perspective, and he would agree that if you're in America, if you live here in America, you have some form of mental health issue, some form of trauma, just because of the systems that are in place here in America.
Amen.
You know,
Yep.
things are structured where the haves and the have-nots, and people feel comfortable with that. It's not I'm my brother's keeper, whereas I'm looking out for my brother if my brother's hungry.
Mm.
If I had, America's about capitalism. I have coffee. If
Mm.
Nick wants some coffee, I say, Nick, if you want some of my coffee, what you gonna give me
Mm.
that I can give you then some of my coffee because I feel it's worth it?
Mm.
What you gonna give me? Because if
Mm.
not,
Yeah. And
you
by the
don't get
by
no
the way,
coffee.
my brother bought me this coffee.
That's the American way.
Yeah.
You must, and so I'm just saying, America has systems in place that has caused serious distrust, has caused serious traumas, and has allowed mental health to perpetuate itself and run rampant.
Mm.
I like to believe. I learned from a young 16-year-old in Washington D.C. at the seminar that many of our black urban and Latino urbans just our urbanites. Many of our urban people, they're not dealing with PTSD. They're dealing with RTSD. It's reoccurring post-traumatic syndrome.
Mm, mm,
It's reoccurring um, traumatic syndrome. Constantly, they're being affected. The past issues haven't been addressed. They're now going through a new experience, awakening the old experience, dealing with the new experience through the old lens,
mm,
causing a new problem.
mm, 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 mm.
So I'm seeing a lot of just uncomfortable space, a lot of uncertainty, and people are using bravado um, to deal. They're putting up false courage. My man Ant said during our last conversations, like, you can't front no more.
Yeah.
That's gone.
You can't.
You
You
can't
can't.
front no more.
Yeah.
It's a real sad space. I think that we're in. It's unfortunate that America is so focused on finances and on capital. And I love the fact that we have opportunity. Become an owner. You know what I mean? That's a beautiful thing to be able to do that. To know that you started from nothing and you made something. You know all the efforts and hard work that you did to create and manifest, much like your father, reflecting your father, creating and manifesting from nothing to making something
Mm,
and something beautiful that gives more and
mm,
gives life.
mm,
Um, but unfortunately, America has created that type of a system that will act or paint the image that it's doing that,
mm,
but it's really for a small number of individuals.
mm,
It's for a sense of distraction to act as if
mm,
you have or you're in or you're a part of, but
mm,
no. There's people who own land. Owning land is a big thing here in America, but yet, from my understanding, because we're so in debt, there might be Asian man that owns your land. You're renting from him. You think you own that land,
mm.
but other countries have ownership of America until we get out of our debt.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
certain amount of ownership that we think that we have that we might be lacking. So I'm just gonna say, all of these systems and dysfunctions that are part of America have really offset the individual,
Mm,
you know, and the individuals, of course, make up the units, and the units, of course, make up the whole.
mm.
So it's, yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
disarray from my
That's what's
perspective.
up, man. And what do you got to expound on that, big bro?
I mean, I think that there's a lot. I think that there's a lot to unpack in that space when you start talking about the mental health and where Americans are right now. Um, it kind of speaks back to what we were talking about those last few weeks. We are in a new normal. Um, Fred and I were talking earlier in relation to mental health. I mean, I think that every last one of us deal with mental health issues.
Mm,
Um, I'm a firm believer that as men define situations as real, they are real in their consequences.
mm,
And so we have new situations to redefine, which means that there's going to be real, just brand new consequences. The question is, what's the solution? You know what I mean? And for me, as a man of God, it comes back to faith. What is God saying? What is He doing in this space? What does He want from me specifically in this space? And I look at myself as a father, as a husband, as a businessman, as a man of God. What are the things that He wants from me? And I look and if I was to answer that question for myself, it would be to number one, evaluate what is really important in life right now.
mm,
I think that taking this time right now and spending with my family is forcing me to develop a new relationship with my children, a
mm,
different one, um, as a husband. There's certain responsibilities as a man that I have to step up into in order to get through this as a family, as a family unit that I've been neglecting, that I can't neglect anymore. And I just think that all of this, we could talk about this ad nauseum. I just think that, to talk about it in short, that that time that we are living in the last days, and that God brought us into this space to force us to reevaluate our lives. And if we are, like we talked about before, if we're pliable, if we're obedient, then we
I need that again. I need that again.
in relation to
Yeah, in relation to if we respond in obedience, we can actually come out on this on top.
yes, if we respond in obedience, if we respond in obedience, we can actually come out of this situation ahead, further than we ever were before. Actually, take it to another level. If we get paralyzed by fear, this will take us out.
Mm.
100%. I think he was talking about the placebo effect, right? We're talking about the strength of our minds. One of the things I had to do is I had to actually stop watching CNN. And
Mm.
it started to become counterproductive.
Mm.
Because what started happening, what I started realizing is like, wow, like I am not, nothing positive is coming out. I'm just looking at negativity. I'm not hearing solutions.
Mm.
I'm just looking at negativity,
Mhm. They're
and
fronting
so
like they're
now,
doing something.
yeah,
They're
and so
fronting like
now
they're doing
every
something.
time I cough, every time I feel any type of little thing, it's almost like I'm like creating and bringing it on to myself.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Just with constantly talking about it, constantly thinking about it,
And mind you, this is
constantly.
that season. This is that
My,
season
my
where
wife
we
just
where
said
we
that.
transition. We're transitioning from winter into
Yes,
spring.
sir.
This is
The
the
flu
transition where
season.
everybody has a
Right.
cough.
Right.
But
Right.
but now it's like, you see somebody cough and you're like, yo, my man, like
Yeah,
take a few steps
yeah,
back.
yeah. Literally
And,
want to fight.
yeah,
It's literally
Back.
like the fight
yeah,
is
But you
yeah,
literally.
can't
yeah,
fight.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
literally.
so one of the things that I wanna, cause I've noticed a few different things. So there, first of all, we can look at perspective, and perspective could either help us or hurt us on both ends. So some individuals are looking at this like it's really not that serious; it's going to pass very quickly. Other individuals are looking at like, yo, this could be the setup for like, for the okay, we all from a biblical standpoint, and because we're Christian, we believe in the last days. The last days are coming. But we've been thinking that for many years. So is it now? And so when we look at what's actually happening, you know what I'm saying? Oh, this could either go away and we can get over it and it could be successful and we can move on, or it could only get worse. And these are the questions and the fears that people have of it getting worse. Now, I say that because if you look at it from the perspective of it getting worse, okay, if you look at it at the perspective, okay, the corona's getting worse, look how it's spreading money, cash. Cash is something that is going to spread this thing and whatever else. So now they use that for, okay, now everything is digital, like we were talking about earlier. And now when everything is digital, all of a sudden with a click of one button, everybody can be broke.
Yes, sir.
Now if everybody's broke, now you're really going out to kill your own food. Now you really have to protect your family with arms and the
Hunter
chaos,
gatherers,
the
man. Back to
chaos
hunter
that could
gatherer.
come out of that,
Right. Right.
right? And then if there's a situation is, oh well, what if this gets better and it passes, and then like Antoine said, we can come out of this stronger, from many different standpoints, from a spiritual standpoint, from a financial and economic standpoint, from just multiple different ways that is possible to come out on top. So the reason why perspective is so important is not just if you think that this is going to pass. It's good to be optimistic, but that can help you and hurt you.
Yes, sir.
Why? Because if you're not taking it serious enough and you're not thinking, you know what I mean, you're not protecting yourself. Like I'm in the store the other day.
I'm gonna
First of
go
all,
live on this.
first of all,
This
I'm
matter
I'm
of fact,
paying
I'm about to go
attention.
live.
I'm paying attention to I watch the news and I see how they're talking about all the things that they're doing and they're talking like this is a small thing that we're gonna handle and it's gonna be done and over with fairly quickly. You know what I mean? But when mind you, my wife is pregnant. I'm going out in the battlefield. You know what I mean? And I'm protecting myself as I go to get groceries and go to get things right.
Yes, sir.
And I'm watching, like I won't even grab my fruit without getting the bag, putting it inside out, grabbing the fruit, but I even got into the frozen section, and there's all these doors, and everybody's touching the doors to open the doors to get what it is that they want. Some people have gloves, some people don't. And at the end of the day, you're not going by each door after every one person touches it and sprays it down and doing this, right? Then they say over the intercom, yes, when you're in line, they please stand 6 feet behind each other. But people, nobody's obeying that while they're going in and out the aisles. There are 20, 30 people in the aisles. When you're looking at the store and how long somebody stays in the grocery store, they say between 30 and 45 minutes we go shopping, you spend shopping. So you got 300 people in the store. That means every hour that 300 people is revolving. You understand what I'm saying? Then you have the people who are going to work, and because some people are not working. So some people are like, oh man, some people are fortunate enough to have a job they can work from home, and they're still getting the same check. Other people, they're just completely out of work. Then they're the people who are happy because their job is an essential job. So you're working at Walmart, you're working at the grocery stores, but you're getting 10, 12, $14 an hour to go into work and expose yourself to thousands of people a day to provide these services. And I'm just watching. Like, I can't help but to see what's going on. But they're talking about there's nothing being done. So and I'm not trying to rant like this, but I'm just giving you pure facts, pure information. My wife didn't want me leaving the house. So she calls the governor's office. And my wife is like, listen, you can't go to work. You're not an essential company. And I'm like, beautiful, I am an essential company, but I understand that you don't want me to go to work. You understand? She calls the governor's office. The governor's office sends me 2 links. One link says identify the services that your company provides and what field is your company in. And obviously, because I have multiple companies, so I'm looking at it all. And I realize both of my current companies are essential companies. I can go to work. So they send you a link, and when you read everything on the link of who's considered essential companies, they really shut nobody down. Like they shut down the NBA because 20,000 people can sit in one space, or they shut down certain things. But the way everybody's still living out there, and then we're using gloves. I'm watching this lady in the store. She's using gloves, touching a million things on the shelves, right? And then she gets frustrated shopping, and she goes like this and rubs her face, and I'm like, and that's just one small example. But what I'm saying is that they're saying that we're doing all these things, but the way things are set up, really, almost everybody can still go to work. And then, mind you, the 2 links. One of the links was to see if your company is or is not an essential company. The other link was an application to make your company an essential company.
Right.
So if you're not an essential company, fill out this form, and now you're an essential
So
company.
everyone's an essential company.
Come on. And and like I said, you're going to these grocery stores and whatever else. You're not doing anything to stop this or prevent this. People are coming in, they're coming out, they're touching a million different products. People have gloves. You think about it, you have gloves, you're using the gloves, you touch all these things, you get in your car, you touch your steering wheel, you like, when do you get rid of the glove? I had to like be like so conscious, okay, I can't touch this because then I'm gonna touch this later. So I have to, now I'm paying attention to what I even touch in the car. I don't even want to touch certain things in the car, so that when I get out, I can wipe it. The only thing that I knew I touched. But again, to put this in the way I'm just looking at everything, they barely shut anything down. Everything, Walmart, there's still 300 people in there. You know what I'm saying? I went in there this morning again. The grocery stores are still packed. You know what I'm saying? And people don't want a legitimate shutdown. But it's like, what could this lead to? Go ahead, my man.
Well, I think that we talk about this from a geopolitical space. You did it on a micro level in terms of your perspective of what's going on.
Yeah.
But if we were talking about this conversation on the whole, like what's happening, there are lots to unpack, right? We talked about them, this eventually leading to the, no more actual paper money. You know what I'm saying? Because you actually give paper money,
It's gonna spread the
what's the name? So what I'm saying is that there's a lot of different things that this thing has created in terms of a new normal. From a geopolitical position, I think that where we are as a country, right, or just as a planet, we're now in a different level of our global economy, right? When you looked at the beginning of the 19th, in the 19th, we went through World War I, World War II, what have you. We was going from an agrarian society to an industrial society. Now we're moving from an industrial society, even more so into a technological society. And there's certain things in that space that won't measure up to the new direction that we're going in. Number one, the American mindset. Right? The American mindset. One of the biggest reasons why America become the epicenter of this whole plague is because of our mindsets. We talked about this before. We talked about it in relation to China being able to kind of like deal with this a lot smoother because of the actual mindset.
Even Italy, yeah.
Yeah, and same
Yeah.
with Italy in relation to their siestas.
Right.
Now they're struggling with it, but
But
they're able to deal with it a little better than we are. I think that what this does is it creates complete revolution, a complete new normal. But I just think that there's going to definitely be a struggle over the ideological approach to humanity. I think we were having that prior too when you had socialism versus capitalism. Well, now what this whole situation has done is has created a situation where you have to start implementing some social principles. Not 100%, but to some extent,
right,
some social principles. And I just think that there's a new normal that we all have to adjust to. That we're watching unfold right before us, and then we're going. And there's like you were talking about. There's some mental health issues. There's some real issues that are coming as a result of this that we have to navigate, and it requires new actions for us all.
facts.
It requires coming together differently. It requires just a completely different approach.
Touche. And what I'd like to add, and first I would like to touch on a few things that you all mentioned. Um, firstly, the end of days. So funny. It's hard to. Is this the end of days? I believe it may be. You know,
Mhm.
I tell you, since a child, I used to, as a child, in my dysfunctions, I used to, go through so much hells on earth. I used to argue with God and say, "You put me on earth to see how much one human can test, and I'm your gauge.
Mm.
You use me as your gauge so that you can know how much not to put on to a human."
Mm.
And I used to request to see the end of days. I used to pray,
Mm.
sadly, and I mean, so many times have I, in my adulthood, asked for forgiveness
Mm.
and asked God to allow me not to see those end of days because I wasn't thinking about, having a wife, having children as a child.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't thinking about the seeds that I was going to birth
Mm.
and be on earth because now I'm condemning them to
Yeah.
something.
I'm with you. I'm with
So
you.
um, it's funny that throughout my growing up, hearing people have always thought it was the end of days. During this era, they thought it was the end of days. During this era, during
Yeah.
this era, during
Yeah.
this era, during this era.
Yeah.
Now we're at
But
our
let me
time. So,
speak to
so
that though.
touche. But I want to unpack
No,
a
no,
few
go ahead.
things,
Yeah.
indeed. And so I then question for myself, for my own experience, is this the end of days, or am I much like many other humans in times of their life going through a hard time and just being disrupted so that God can allow me to vibrate on that frequency that He works on,
Yeah.
so that I can then ... which
Yeah.
means bring life in whichever way that is,
Yeah.
productivity, love,
Yeah.
community, whatever that is.
Yeah.
So that's just that on the end of days. Then I want to speak on the perspective aspect. A lot of people have understanding of perspective as a 2D type platform. Whereas this is the point we want to make. And
Yeah.
then to make that point, you could draw a circle, and there's many different perspectives
Yeah.
that one can have
Yeah.
to that one point, right?
Yeah.
So I can interpret one experience, meaning Nick said to me with his finger in my face, "Fred, shut up." Okay, I could look at that as Nick's tripping right now,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
right? Or I could look at it as an opportunity to get closer to my brother because this isn't healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
One's going to be helpful, one's
Yeah.
going to be hurtful,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And because we live in the dual reality, that's where things are going to fall. Either it's going to be helpful or it's going to fall to hurtful.
Yeah.
Sometimes things fall to helpful, but then because of how we do do the thing inappropriately, it falls to hurtful, even though it started off to the on the helpful.
Yeah.
Good intentions pave the way to hell. We can talk about that as well, but that then starts a whole nother conversation, right?
Yeah.
So just to make the point of perspective, I like to think of perspective as, and let me say, there's no one perspective that's wrong.
Yeah.
Just a perspective is going to be either healthy or not healthy. It's going to assist or it's not going to assist. That's
Yeah.
how I look at these things. But I like to more so look at perspective as, let's put a dot in the middle in space and then create a sphere around that dot, and then you can see how, because then dots are either closer to, because like right now, like we see stars. And I don't mean to go too far fetched, right? But we see stars because from our perspective, from this Earth perspective, we see the Big Dipper. There's Leo. All these different astrological signs or whatever.
Yeah.
You go to another planet out there,
Yeah.
it ain't in the same order.
Yeah.
Stars that look like they're side by side, it's actually like this, light years away. But because we're looking at from one perspective, they look like they're two stars side by side. So perspective will change, and it will allow you to have what you was touching on before, a truth, but that's your truth. It ain't the truth.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So again, you can also do something much like you stated earlier, that through a perspective, it can be helping you, but if you're not have enough balance within that, it can end up hurting you.
Exactly.
Right? So how do we have that balance? How do we maintain? And I think you find that through support, having godly individuals around you that can keep you awoke, that can keep you in a space of being able to vibrate at that frequency, because I think the frequency is always is. God is always.
Yeah.
Truth doesn't need anybody. Truth doesn't need anybody or
to
anything
agree with it or confirm it or anything.
Right, it just is.
It just is. It just is.
Right?
It just is.
Lies.
Yeah.
They have no energy. It's like a wet noodle. It can't stand.
Yeah.
It has nothing. It's just.
Yeah.
But it needs a host. If it grabs a host,
Yeah.
it can become as strong as the host.
Yeah.
But only with that host.
Yeah.
It is a lie. A lie does not have any strength.
Yeah.
And I think much of what America has done is created lies and fake foundations.
Yeah.
And those things, like we're saying, are being tested right now and
Being
falling.
broken down.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts. This coronavirus has put us in a space where, like Ant has said on a few occasions, that the playing field has become even now. Those that were so high and mighty in a way, you know what? You think you can't be touched?
Yeah.
The rain's coming down on your end
The
too.
dollar can be raised.
Yes, sir.
Power, the actual dollar can be 100% raised, and it's in jeopardy right now.
Yes, sir.
But I got to jump into this. We talk about the last days. Are we living in the last days? We are definitely living in the last days. There's no question about it.
How long are those days?
Now,
those last days could be the next 100 years.
No, but there is a different
The next
space.
200 years.
Jesus talks about this in Matthew. He talks about this in Matthew. Talks about this specifically in Matthew 16, when the Pharisees and the Sadducees came up to him and they asked him for a sign. He didn't answer them directly right then and there for the sign that they're asking. He said, in the last days, an adulterous generation, an adulterous, slanderous generation will ask for a sign, but no sign will be given to them, only but in the days of Jonah. Right? Jonah, here's the unique thing about Jonah. Or story in the Bible that Jews, Christians, and Muslims all agree on the facts of what happened. We all agree on what happened, meaning that Jonah, that God set forth an actual purpose for Jonah to go and bless his enemies. He didn't want to do that or what have you, so he ran from his actual purpose in blessing his enemies, and then God went and let hell raise up around him to then force him into his actual purpose. But what he was doing, what he was running from, and this is why and we're going to talk about going back to the Matthews when Jesus talked about these last days. But let's go back to what he's talking about in Jonah. What Jonah was running away from was blessing his enemies. And when the information that he was supposed to give the people of Nineveh or whatever was that if they turn from their wicked ways, from their wicked God would come and destroy them. If they turn from their actual wicked ways, that God would heal their land. So when you look at all of the things in relation to that one story, Jesus pointed it out and said that in the last days, the only way you're going to be able to come and get the miracle you're asking for, even right now, this is the space that we're in our houses. You have to be willing to go against yourself. You place things up that are not supposed to be there. You have to be willing to go against yourself. You have to be willing to bless your enemy. You have to be willing to bless your enemy.
Now that's serious right there, because I got to touch on that.
You have to be willing to go against yourself and bless your enemy. That's the other aspect of it. You have to be willing to bless your enemy.
Go ahead.
So let's look at all the contributing factors. You have to be willing to go against yourself.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to bless your enemy or what have you. And then you have to be willing to turn away from your wicked ways or what have you that you placed up, what have you, and give them to God. Here's the last thing I'm gonna say on this thing. So those are the three things that Jesus said that in the last days, the only way you're going to be able to come into what you're asking him for is the application of those things, going against yourself, blessing your enemy, and then turning 100% away from the wicked things that you in essence created. All right, here's the last thing I'm gonna say in terms of being this being his last days.
Mm-hmm.
He talked about it prior to even describing that. He said that you would be able to, the same way you're able to read the red sky
Mm-hmm.
and know that that is night or that the weather's changing.
Yeah, yeah.
That when there's wars, rumors of wars, pestilence,
Mm-hmm.
these things are happening.
Mm-hmm.
This is an indication that we are living in the last days.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, I want to repeat this for the last person who didn't get this. When he said straight up and down that he didn't answer them, the Pharisees and Sadducees, they wanted the miracle. He didn't answer them in the space that they were answering. He answered them in the last days. We will be asking for the same thing, and here's the only way to get it. So I just wanted to go ahead and share that, and to the very fact that we are definitely living in the last days, because every last one of these things apply in order for us to get from where we are right now to where we're going.
Yeah. So one of the things I was just thinking about as we're sitting here, was that this podcast is not about Corona. You know what I'm saying? And what actually led up to us being able to start this podcast was me and Aunt kicking it about everyday life, kicking it about the scriptures, kicking it about marriage, about work, about all these other topics, right? But now it's like all the attention. It's like we have so much more to offer, but now with all the attention that's going on with everybody, you can't help but to talk about what's going on with Corona. So the reason why I brought that up is because I was listening to a TD Jakes sermon recently, and he was talking about what needs to be done and the things that we forgot about, and it goes to what you were just saying in regards to blessing our enemies, and not just our enemies. Like we stop blessing the old lady who's crossing the street, or the person who's in need, or the person, right? And so we know as Christians, and just people as humanity, this is a time to make a conscious decision to do right, right? But the ingredients that we're experiencing is forcing people to even go wrong. It's forcing people to you're not trying to bless your enemy. You're trying to curse your enemy. Like, this is the energy. This is the aim. This is the ingredients of what's being mixed right now. Like you just said, yo, my man coughed. It's like, yo, like, get away from me. Get away from me. And yes, that's on a micro level, but when you think about it, this is you read these signs and you see them in stores or whatever else. It's talking about social distancing. We've already, with technology, have socially distanced ourselves
Facts.
in a
Facts.
tremendous way,
Facts.
and now we're gonna do it even more, right? Social distancing. When you just hear what it sounds like, social distancing, and so now you're gonna see if this gets worse, if the next step is them saying, okay, because what they're doing is they're setting us up. I'm just being real. They're telling us how. When you look at the stats and the statistics, they're telling us where Corona is. They're telling us how it's being distributed. This many cases came in the grocery store. This many cases came in hospitals. This many cases came from this, right? And then the next setup is that now the flood of all of this is come through cash, through the American dollar, through dollars. So now we have to shut this down. And now once they shut cash down, now everything is digital. No, these are the next steps. What's next? The mark of the beast. What's next? So and then now you've already socially distanced yourself. Now they're telling us to social distance yourself even more. Now we take away your money. Now the next step. Everything is just so again, now we could all be speaking hypothetically. And by the grace of God, even if we're in the last times, okay, it could be the last time for some people. It may not be the last time for all people. There was Noah in the ark. Then there was Sodom and Gomorrah. You know what I'm saying? But life still went on after that. And now there's Corona. And who knows if by the grace of God, life is gonna go on. Yeah, I believe we're in the last days. But and if you even look like scientifically, like I think it was like, I don't know, 100 years ago, whatever else, where they would measure the earthquakes, and there were just so many of them. Within the last 100 years, there are like millions of earthquakes. Where versus they would only come at a certain time over 100 years ago. So we're definitely getting there. With, and then they say, father against father, and the rumors of wars, and like you said, the pestilence and all of those things. So we're definitely in the last days. It's just a matter of how long are these last days, how long are they, and whatever else. But again, to go to the main point that I was trying to get is that bless your enemy. The recipe that's being dished to us is to ostracize and to alienate, um, and to basically, socially distance yourself. Now you got to take care of you and your family and your household. Whereas the Christian and the man of God and just humanity needs to make a conscious effort and take action in going against the recipe that's given to us, going against the direction that's given to us, so that we make a conscious effort to do the right thing and
So,
to genuinely love our neighbors, like we love ourselves.
so you're saying being intentional about it.
Be intentional,
Yeah,
action,
yes, sir,
take action,
yes, sir.
take action.
I really feel individuals would like to be intentional or desire to, but again, it's very. I don't think. I think people look at intention just like many other things. People, Karis once said it in a song. I forget what song it was years ago. Though. I love that car. I love that bike. I love it. Like, you don't love that thing. Like, we use words so haphazardly now.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know. And people do the same with intention. I think people skim on the surface of these words. They don't use the depth of the word. They skim on the top of the letter, which you get nothing of it. You know what I mean? So it's very unfortunate. Much it seems like as if we all agree that America, though I'm gonna say this, I love America. My freedom, the way that I've been able to grow up, even though I was ignorant to a lot of the oppressions that was upon me. I'm grateful because I knew that in other countries they didn't have that freedom or that luxury or that privilege
Hmm.
in certain aspects. So I'm very grateful for what I get here in my country, but I also know that um, our ish stinks the most
Hmm.
in many spaces.
Yeah.
We have the bigger pile of ish in many spaces. And America tends to, for the capital dollar, tends to help perpetuate and create spaces so there's that distraction so that you can have that consumer mindset, you know,
That's what's
at
happening
any
right now.
cost.
But that's what's happening right now. I'm
That's
gonna cut you
well,
off.
no, that's what I'm saying
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
You're just agreeing with what
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you.
my
I'm
man.
agreeing with you
That's what I'm
100%.
saying.
That's what's happening right now. We've
Right,
been lulled to sleep.
right.
We've been lulled to sleep, whether it be weed, whether it be, chasing prosperity. We've been lulled to sleep. So right now, if you were to look at what's going on across the board, if there was any time for us to revolt, that's why I was looking at this $2 trillion is extremely strong. I'll say this right online. Like if this $2 trillion didn't include me, I was definitely gonna be online, like straight up and down, trying to get every single person that was in the same space. Because right now, you don't have to, like I was saying to you earlier, you don't have to grab a gun to get outside to revolt. You don't have to grab a gun to go kill somebody. All you have to do is just assemble an enormous amount of people and have them stand outside together, and it's disruptive.
Yeah.
Right now,
But now it's hard to
right
assemble a
now,
large
right
amount of
now,
people.
right
This is
now.
how you socially distance people.
Yeah,
It's hard to do that now. It's hard to do
right
that now.
now, if you do, right now, where America is right now is extremely vulnerable. Right in this, and I'm talking about over the next week and a half. Once we
But that's coming.
allow the military to set up shop, it's a
And
wrap.
that's a distraction within itself.
Once we
How do
allow
you
the
invade a
military to
country?
set up shop,
Distract them. Get their
Exactly.
military
it is.
That's
off
what
the
I'm saying. This
battlefield
is
and
It's a
put their
American
wrap.
way.
and turn their military onto them.
It's a
Distraction is
wrap.
as American as apple pie, baby.
Yeah, that's
It's the
crazy.
way.
Wrap.
It's
It's
the
a wrap.
way.
Our military soldiers in our streets. That's how you distract. Well, let's lull them to sleep with this here. Like, who knows what's coming? You know what I'm saying? And that's why. And this is not for the purpose of injecting fear, but it's like awareness. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
sir. Yes,
And
sir.
now individuals need to we gotta get on our face. We got to get on our face before God, You know what I'm saying? We gotta, it's important. Individuals better get in their word. Individuals need to be fed. Individuals need to be enlightened in so many different ways. But who knows where? Like you can't. If you don't take it serious enough, those are the first casualties,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know. And so it's about trying to be prepared. You said how do we do it? And then like you said, self, and we got, obviously we're using technology to keep in touch. And you need a structure system, and you need a support system. Number one, you need God. And then what you really just do is keep going forward, like keep going forward. And like I again, I can only speak for myself, but I keep going forward and trying to do the things that I would do. That's why we're here doing this. You know what I mean? Does this heighten it? Does it? No. This is something God. Me and Antoine been working on this over a year ago,
mm-hmm.
and it was before this got as serious as it was that God had spoke to me and said now. And I literally got on the phone and said bang bang, and God gave me. It was while I was in prayer in church
Yes, sir.
that God gave me the individuals.
Mm-hmm.
These are your. I've been setting this up, and He showed me how the certain individuals who are involved in this, God has been handpicking, you know, to be a part of what it is that we're doing. But we're not stopping, and that's my thing is I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna keep working, in every aspect. I'm gonna keep trying to better myself financially, better myself spiritually, better myself physically, better myself. I'm not gonna start. Okay, the world is gonna end, so let me stop exercising. Let me stop. I'm not stopping nothing. Nobody should stop anything that you're doing that is positive and that is productive, and that is healing and
Sir.
all of that. And so keep grinding.
Yes, sir. I'd add to that by saying, I'm in total harmony with you all. I think you should seek your Father God first. And through that, many people, firstly, let me say, I think we as humans, we stay in the physical realm too much. Again, that if there's an in, there must be an out, right? If there's an up, there must be a down, or it all falls apart, right? So if there's a physical, there must be an unphysical or an intangible.
Mm.
And this is what our ancestors used to really honor in our first becomings. When our ancient African sisters and brothers honored the flag, it wasn't for the way that we honor the flag, for the colors and the symbols on it that means. Yes, I'm sure they had colors and things that represented, but that wasn't it. The thing was the altar world, that here is it, you have a physical thing that lies there. And there's a invisible thing that will come. And this thing that just lies there is no good without this invisible thing that then comes and brings it to life. And we'll have it snapping and talking and doing this thing. So there's the physical thing, and then there's the unphysical thing, so to speak, that they acknowledge through using the use of the flag. Not that it actually represents the two, but this
Mm-hmm.
is how they chose to interpret, to understand that the intangible is very important. And therefore, in the spiritual realm, I think you must seek God. In seeking God, the truth has always been. I personally don't think that we are now under attack. I think we've always been under attack. I think since the beginning of existence, there's always been negative and there's been positive in order for this reality to be. And this is just my limited perspective as
Yeah.
well, just saying. And so the funkiness that is here now has only been either magnified, it's been exacerbated in some way, or there's nothing new under the sun, so to speak. And so we're just being tried. They use something different to do the same thing, so to
Mm.
speak, or the same, or something different will come about doing the same thing from a previous time. That being said, I think that God as truth has always been as well, and the truth has always been there, vibrating, allowing you to connect with it. The frequency's been there. Are you tuning in? Is your radio station on the right channel? Are you getting the BS loud blasting noise?
Mm.
Or is your station kind of staticky because you're tuned in, but you ain't tuned in? So there's times where you're missing
Mm.
bits of information. Or is your station nice and clear,
Mm.
where you're able to receive, and through that receiving, you're gonna operate. And I don't think we need to reflect our Father so much. People think it's arm, leg, arm, head reflection. I personally think it's a intangible, a consciousness. We are conscious beings. Everything to me is consciousness, and that's what God is. He's consciousness, and He vibrates at a certain frequency. And when you vibrate at that frequency, or you tune your channel in, because you're connected to God, because you are a part of the whole. And when you tune in, you now begin to operate in that miracle type world, or in that amazing world, in that world of coincidence. I don't believe in coincidence. You know, everything has a reason. Everything has justification behind it, and everything has power behind it. Because God, and I don't think you can give God anything that He can't make work for Him. Anything.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
Thank you, King.
So I mean, what is it that we want to leave people with, as we end this podcast right now? I mean,
I want to uplift what you two said. You know, from the start, from Ant to you to where I just left off at. Do that inner searching, for one. Seek your Father God. In that time, do your inner searching. Connect with the truth that is. I believe God, since the age of 2, we knew right from wrong. I'm even going before that. You know, first we start off with a bottle, where we suckle from the tit first, right? And then from there we get the bottle. When we get the bottle is strapped in a way that we can tilt it up and just keep it up there like that, right? But then as we get a little older, to the age of 1, they give us a sippy cup, much like this cup. And at first, when we first get it, we try to do like the bottle, and we drown ourselves constantly, right?
yeah.
Because there's no, because we advanced beyond that little hole thing that could do like the bottle.
Yeah.
As soon as they gave us the cup, we drown ourselves. But it doesn't take 20 drownings for us to figure it out as a child. It doesn't take 20.
Yeah.
It takes a handful of times for you to go, okay, you know what? No more of that. I'm bring it down. Oh, that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Oh, and and then you figure out as it gets. So we know.
I wish I had that on there.
We're in tune, man.
We do.
We're in tune, man. God speaks to us, man. We know right from wrong. And so when God is speaking to you, to turn that station up, man.
Yeah. That's a powerful word.
My man, get that.
That's a powerful word.
Nah, it is.
That's a powerful word. To tune in.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So we hope at the end of this all, information is key. Individuals, we should definitely keep pressing, keep the spirits high. Don't allow fear to overcome you. And I think the main thing to leave with is bless your enemy. That's hard, B.
Yes, sir.
That's hard. And if you can stretch yourself to blessing your enemy, or blessing a complete stranger, we're doing away with some of the ingredients in the direction that the world is giving us, to continue to socially distance each other, look at each other as enemies. It's a recipe for destruction, and so that's what I would like to leave individuals with.
I think the only thing that I would leave with is the very fact that we have to be willing to be radically different. This is a time for radical difference, like in terms of whether it be businesses, there are some things that you may not had the courage to do or want to do, but now you absolutely have to. You know what I mean? Like if you have a small business, you may have to go out here and create these little videos to kind of show your service and what you're doing. Right? The beautiful thing about that is, in this new normal, you have access to more people to market your situation to. See, that's the trade-off. The trade-off is everything is now being brought to even, but the other positive thing is that if you don't get paralyzed by fear, you get access to more. And I think
that was deep.
Don't allow.
Can you say that again?
If you don't get paralyzed by fear, you have access to more.
That's serious.
That's just a clear bottom line. And you have access to things that you would, because all of our spirits are open. Like just like now, people are going to like look at this and hear what they're going through and what they're experiencing, and they're sitting. As I was going live, people were like chiming in, and they were talking like because they're experiencing what we're experiencing.
Yeah.
They want to hear people, people experiences and what we're dealing with. But it's about, to me, the last thing I would like to say is, Just be prepared to be radically different.
Yes, sir.
That's what's
Step
up.
outside of yourself.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you guys for joining us. When Iron Sharpens Iron, keep tuning in. We definitely appreciate you. Like, click on the link below, do all that other good stuff.
Subscribe.
Yes, sir.
Subscribe.
Take care. God bless.